In Matthew chapter 5, we finally reach Jesus' famous Sermon on the Mount. And here he is portrayed as a sort of new Moses, as he goes upon the mountain and then gives his interpretation of the law and how the people of God should act. He is, in a way, showing Moses in that he is a sort of lawgiver up on that mountain. And this is one of 7 mountains in the Gospel of Matthew where significant things happened with, obviously the Mount of Olives and the Mount of Transfiguration and the Mount where Jesus gives his Great Commission being other significant mountains in Matthew's Gospel. But here he gives how his people, God's people, should act. And his standard is so different than the rest of the world's, and even very different in most of the time from other Jews of his day. Sometimes he agrees with certain rabbinic interpreters. Many other times he goes even further to an extreme. And one of the most famous parts where he has shaped so much of Christianity and how Christianity has shaped so much of the world is in loving our enemies. Jesus perfectly demonstrated this in his own life as he loved those and died for those that hated him and that ridiculed him and mocked him and abandoned him. But also, Jesus says at the end of Matthew chapter 5, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemies.' But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may become children or sons of your Father who is in heaven." And God so often demonstrates this grace to everybody in the world. He sends rain and sunshine on the good and the bad, the just and the unjust. And so also, we should seek to do good even to those who don't deserve it. Even to those who might hate us and want to harm us. We should seek to love them, and we should pray for them. That person who cut you off in traffic, don't retaliate, but rather simply help them out. There are many times in our lives where maybe we were on the receiving end, where we did something to upset somebody, but they ended up forgiving us and treating us kindly in return. And this is where the power of the gospel comes from. According to all other worldly systems, loving your enemies doesn't even make sense. Because we are always about defending ourselves, defending what's right and defending what's ours. But God says that retaliation and judgment belongs to him for the time being. And so we are consigned to reflect God's character by simply loving those, even when they don't seem to deserve it. And I hope that we today can, when someone hurts us, when someone does something bad against us, we can choose in that moment not to retaliate, but to pray for that person and seek to do good to that person. And in that way, we show that we are children of God.